Are you still wondering if the law of attraction truly works? Do you catch yourself thinking that maybe it works for other people but not for me? Or maybe you think that it only works for small things, but it never works when you truly need it to work for something big or important. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up a series of easy experiments to prove to yourself beyond the shadow of a doubt that the law of attraction works and that you can make it work. What's up, superheroes? Welcome back to my channel, the place where we make the impossible possible. I'm Scarlet Grace from unshakeable.com. I'm a manifestation coach, and today's video is about proving to yourself not only that the law of attraction works, but also that you can truly make it work. If you're new here and you want to learn how to manifest any desire fast with the law of attraction and Neville Goddard's teachings, then start now by hitting the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you won't miss any video that could change your life. And if you need some extra help or my personal advice for your situation, email coaching is available. You'll find all the links in the description below. I also have a 21-day course on how to manifest your specific person. So if that's what you're looking for, then click the link in the description to check it out. So welcome to your very own law of attraction experiment, where we're going to prove that the law of attraction and the law of assumption and everyone is you pushed out are real concepts, that they are true, and most importantly, that they work for you and that you can make them work. If you're watching this video right now, I'm going to assume that you are already familiar with many of these concepts and many of the methods that people use to manifest things in their reality. If by any chance this is the first ever video you're watching on the law of attraction or Neville Goddard on manifesting, then don't worry, I have many playlists with many videos detailing step by step how to use these concepts to manifest any desire you have. So you're not missing anything if you don't know these methods. You can go to watch the other videos and pick a method and run your experiment according to this video. So keep watching. So, here's where people get stuck when they discover the law of attraction. You discover that your thoughts create things in your physical reality, and most people will tell you to test this by manifesting something small. Something small would be someone buying you a cup of coffee, or finding a feather, or finding coins on the street. But where people get stuck is they try to go from manifesting something tiny and pretty much insignificant to them, like, for example, seeing 3 cars in a row that are blue out of the window, or someone buying them a cup of coffee, to manifesting something that to them is big and important, and it has a lot of meaning attached to it. Like, you're out of a job for a year and you want to manifest a job. This is important to you. It makes sense that it is important to you. And if you tried all kinds of mundane things to get a job and you couldn't get a good job, then of course this will feel difficult to you. This will feel both important and significant and hard to manifest. Or you try and successfully manifest a cup of coffee, but then you want to manifest your ex back and you haven't spoken with your ex in 6 months and you broke things off in a really bad way with a huge fight. So of course this is both significant to you and it feels hard. It feels impossible. So what we're going to do today is create a set of experiments for you where you're going to not only prove that these concepts work and that you can make them work, but also they're going to bridge the gap between the tiny things that you already manifested or are usually advised to manifest and those things that you truly want to manifest, those big goals that you have, those big desires that you have. And the reason we're going to do this is because when you want to manifest something, there are several kinds of doubts that come up. One set of doubts, obviously, when it comes to something that you feel is big, like getting an ex back or manifesting millions in the lottery, is of course any doubts that you have about this specific goal. It feels big, so it feels difficult. That's one set of doubts. But the other set of doubts that many people deal with constantly is the nagging doubt that those things don't work, that they're fooling themselves and that manifesting doesn't actually work, and what proof do they have that it works? And maybe it works only for tiny things, like getting all the lights on your way to work to turn green as you're approaching them, but it doesn't work for anything truly significant, anything truly big. And another huge doubt that people have, that many people have, is many people believe that the law of attraction works when it comes to stuff, material things. But when it comes to the concept of everyone is you pushed out, which means that by reimagining a person, by imagining someone differently in your mind, you can change the way they behave towards you, the way they think about you, and the way they feel about you. There they get stuck. Many people have no problem manifesting material things, but they cannot really wrap their mind around the concept that they can change how someone behaves and that it's not even manipulating them. It's just changing how you see them in your mind, how you interact with them in your imagination. So this is very important, because if you prove this to yourself beyond a shadow of a doubt, if you prove that you can manifest things and that you can also manifest changes in feeling and thought and behavior when it comes to any person that you want, and that it not only works, but that you can make it work, then you can go on and manifest those desires that feel up big very easily. Because you won't have to worry about part of your brain constantly wondering if those things are truly working, or if you're just fooling yourself, and if you would rather accept that you will not get what you want and get it over with. You will know that you can get what you want. You will have concrete, solid proof that you have made it happen again and again and again. So you will feel confident that you can manifest the big things too. So here's what I want you to do. First of all, I want you to get a notebook and a pen, or open a document in your computer or on your phone, wherever you feel is convenient, and create the parameters for a specific experiment. So, first of all, decide what you want to test. Now, here's the thing. I want you to create a list of things that are middle range things. So, as I said earlier, the problem most people face is that they go from tiny things, like someone buying them a cup of coffee, to huge things. And that's why they lose their faith, because you need to build up your faith by manifesting things that to you feel more and more difficult. See that like how we work in school. You don't just enter your first maths class and the teacher gives you the most difficult problem in the book and expects you to solve it. Someone explains the concepts to you and then gives you a few examples, and then you practice on very easy exercises that get progressively more and more difficult until you are actually ready to tackle a very difficult problem. You don't just jump from the simple, super simple exercise to the most difficult thing. You spend a lot of time on intermediate things so that you can build your skill and your faith that you can do it. And then you move on to difficult stuff. So this is the same thing that you need to do to prove that the law of attraction and the law of assumption works. So I'm going to focus first of all on things that have to do with other people, because that's where you get mostly stuck when it comes to changing someone's behavior. Be that your boss or your parents' opinion about something, or a specific person that you want to manifest in your life and have a romantic relationship with. That's where people get stuck. So make a list of things from your life that have to do with people around you that you would like to change. Not things that are extremely important to you, things that if that person behaves in that way that you want, it is going to change your life completely. But things that you actually want, but it's not a problem if they never happen. For example, let's say that you have a roommate and your roommate just never takes out the trash, and this annoys you. You've lived with this roommate for a couple of years, and unless you start nagging her again and again and again, she will never take out the trash, and you have to do it all the time. Now, manifesting this change in her behavior is not going to change your life radically, right? It's not something huge and important that if it doesn't happen, oh my God, what are you going to do? But if you manifest it, first of all, you have eliminated a cause of worry in your life, a cause of constant anxiety and getting annoyed with her. And also you will have proven that you can use those concepts to change how someone acts without you having to do anything else, without having to persuade them with words, without having to have a discussion with her. So let's say that you have this specific goal. So take a piece of paper, and I've created a PDF you can download for free that will have all that stuff for you to fill in, So do that after watching that video, or you can use a piece of paper. So get a piece of paper and write what you're trying to manifest. I'm manifesting my roommate starting taking out the trash regularly without me having to tell her to do so. That is the end result that you want to manifest. Now, after that, decide what method from all the methods of manifesting that you know you're going to use. Which method appeals to you the most? Let's say it is imagining sessions. You decide that you're going to create an imagining session that implies that the behavior of your roommate is changed. So you create an imaginal session where your roommate is taking out the trash and you're thinking that it's great that she takes out the trash every morning or every evening, whatever it is that you've created. Write down that the method you're going to use is an imaginal scene. Or if you're using affirmations, write down affirmations. But choose one method to apply to this thing. Don't choose all of them, choose one. Alright? Then write down exactly how you're going to apply that method. So if it is an imaginal scene, think of your imaginal scene, construct it in your mind, and then write it out in detail so that you know exactly what you used. Because this will act as future reference. When you want to manifest something in the future, you can look back to your experiments and figure out which things work best for you. Alright? So write down your imaginal scene and then write down exactly how you're going to use that imaginal scene. So are you going to spend 10 minutes every day at a specific hour of the day imagining this thing? Are you going to do 3 sessions of imagining per day, and how long are they going to be? Are you going to have structured imaginal sessions, or are you going to try freestyling it and maybe imagining when you're bored and waiting in line at the grocery store to pay for your things? Or are you going to only do your sessions when you are deeply relaxed? Are you going to imagine before sleeping at night or upon waking up in the morning? When are you going to imagine? So decide what you're going to try. Say you decided that you're going to do 3 imaginal sessions per day of between 5 to 10 minutes. So write that down so that you know exactly what you're using. And then start using it to manifest a change in behavior that you want to see in your roommate. You can conduct another experiment using a different method. Now find something else that feels of similar difficulty to you as the thing that you're testing originally. So if one thing is getting your roommate to start taking out the trash, what would feel of similar difficulty to manifest compared to that? Maybe you have a friend that you love the movies and she doesn't, and you always have to nag her so that you can go to the movies with her. So how about manifesting this friend of yours that usually hates the movies coming to you to tell you that there is this movie that she really, really wants to watch and you should go to watch it at the movies? Now, to me, this feels of similar difficulty to manifesting your roommate taking out the trash. If it doesn't feel of similar difficulty to you, you can choose something else. But to me, those two feel very similar. Both of them are things that if this was what was happening in my life, I would feel very happy if they changed, but it's not like my life depends on it. Like, if they don't manifest, then okay, my life is great anyway. It's not like I'm waiting for those things to manifest for my life to feel good and for me to be happy. So I'm not particularly attached to things like that, and they feel a similar difficulty to me. Find something that to you feels of similar difficulty, of the same level as the first thing that you decided to manifest. And choose a different method to test. So if for the first experiment you decided to test imagining sessions, you can decide to try intentions and affirmations when it comes to manifesting this change with your best friend in the movies. So you use intentions like, I intend for my best friend to come up to me and ask me to go to the movies with her. Something like that. Or the other thing you can do in terms of testing is you can use the same method but applied differently. So you can, for example, use imagining sessions for both of these goals, but you decide that for the roommate goal, you're going to imagine 3 times per day, every day, and for the goal about your best friend in the movies, you're going to imagine just once before bed. Just once, no more. Just one session before bed, and at no other time will you do an additional imagining session during the day. And you're doing this because you're trying to test whether more sessions are needed in order to manifest something, or if by just dedicating one session per day to a goal, you manifest faster. Because every person is different, and until you test those methods to figure out what works best for you and how to apply it to get the best results for you, not for someone else, not what other people do, but what truly works for you the best, because every person is unique, and something that works the best for me may not be what works best for you. And something that doesn't bring me the best results may be what gives you mind-blowing results. You won't know unless you've tested it. That's why we're doing that experiment. So you test those things and you see how they manifest. And then when they manifest, you write down exactly what happened, that after doing this, this and this and this and this happened, and then my roommate started taking out the trash. And you write down how long it took. So how many days between you started the experiment and it actually manifested. And you do the same with a best friend. You write down, for example, it took 2 weeks of imagining once per day before bed until she came up to me and said, you know how I hate the movies, but there is this movie where this actor plays that I love and I so want to go to the movies and watch this. Will you come with me? And it took 7 days, for example, or it took 2 weeks. You write that down. Now, when you have completed that set of experiments, you have your list of different middle range things that you can experiment with, so you pick 2 new goals. So let's say you have a boss that doesn't appreciate you, that you work so hard, and the boss doesn't appreciate you, and you even feel that maybe your job isn't that secure anymore. And what you want is a promotion that comes with a raise and a bonus, and you want this boss to start noticing your great job. So you can decide to tackle the part where that boss doesn't appreciate you first. Instead of going directly to manifesting a promotion that feels difficult to you, let's test this concept. Let's test everyone is you pushed out to see if you change your perception of your boss and the interactions you have with your boss in your head, will that truly manifest a change in behavior? Will your boss start complimenting you? Will your boss start congratulating you on a job well done? Will the boss take notice of you? So, you take this as your goal, and again, you take a piece of paper or you use the PDF that you can download from the description, and you write down what you're manifesting. I'm manifesting my boss congratulating me on a job well done. What method you're going to use? You can run the same experiment as before, or you can pick something different. So maybe you want to test this time what will happen if you do not use a structured imaginal session, but you just change your mental diet. You want to have conversations in your head where your boss is telling you how valuable you are at the office, how hard you're working, and how pleased he is with your performance. And that's what you want to do. You don't want to have structured imaginal sessions. You just want to hear him say that in your head. You want to hear a conversation between you in your head where he's telling you all the things that you have been longing to hear from this person all this time, and he never said them to you. So this is what you're using. You're using changing your mental diet without other methods. And maybe you want to decide that you're going to do this like an imaginal session by dedicating a specific time frame per day to do it. Like 15 minutes, I will focus on imagining this. Or maybe it is something that you are not going to do in a structured way. You decide that you will not focus on this specifically for say 10 minutes a day. You will just keep it in your mind during the day, and whenever you remember, you will play this conversation in your head where the boss is congratulating you, and you're going to do this while you're busy with other things like standing in line at the grocery store or washing the dishes, because you want to see if by any chance you get better results if you do it like that without having your full attention on it, because that may, for many people, when they have their full attention on something, then their doubts come up. But when they're busy with something else and they just daydreaming essentially, they get better results. So let's test if this daydreaming thing while doing other things works better for you than structured imaginal sessions. So again, you write down the method you're going to use. You write down exactly what you're going to be focusing on. So if it is a mental diet change, if it is a conversation with the boss, write down the phrases that you definitely will keep repeating in your mind coming out of his mouth, like, I can't believe you did such great work here. You're the best employee of this branch, or whatever you want to hear. And then when this manifests, I want you to come back and fill out the last part where you write down exactly how this manifested. And this is important, the feeling out how it manifested, not just that it manifested, because some goals manifest in a very straightforward manner. You imagine something, then suddenly it happens. There is nothing in between. Other goals can take a huge detour where it may even look that things are going backwards, that things are getting worse instead of getting better. And you need to persist and trust that what you're doing is working instead of focusing on how it isn't working. Because if you're focusing on how it isn't working, you're going to manifest it not working. You need to persist, no matter what happens in your physical reality, in imagining and in feeling that this goal is already yours. That's how you manifest. So I want you to write down for every experiment what exactly happened, because many times you will experience a detour, something that indicates that things are getting worse before they actually get better and you get the end result you wanted exactly as you imagined it or exactly as you asked for it. And this is important because you will be able to look back at all your experiments in the future when you're trying to manifest something that is truly important to you and truly big in your mind, like a specific person back or this huge job opportunity. And you're going to be able to look at your experiments and see that sometimes they don't manifest in a straightforward way, but they manifest because there's always a chain of incidents for your end result to manifest. And sometimes while you're living through it, while you're in the middle of the chain of incidents, it makes zero sense. And you look at it and think, there is no way that things can go from where they are right now to the end result I want. No way. Well, until they actually do, as is the experience of many people who manifest. And that's why it's important to have notes of your experiments, so that you can look back at them when you have doubts for bigger things that you want to manifest. You can look at them and say to yourself, see, I thought this wasn't going to manifest because this happened, but this turned out to be an essential part in why I could manifest this. So I don't have to worry in this time either, because no matter how things look like in my physical reality, I know that this is just part of my chain of incidents, nothing more. It may not make sense to me. I don't need it to make sense. All I need is for my desire to manifest, and I know it will. So again, you can choose a goal of equal difficulty to the one about the boss and conduct a second experiment simultaneously. So maybe you have a difficult coworker and you want to change how they behave towards you and how they speak to you. So take a piece of paper, use the PDF printable, write down your goal, write down the method you're going to use. So maybe you're going to use affirmations for this kind of manifestation. So write down the affirmations you're going to use, or intentions. Write down the intentions you're going to use. I intend for Joe to start being kind to me and complimenting me at the office. And that's what you're going to repeat to yourself. Decide how often you're going to use it. Is it going to be 1 session per day? Is it going to be 3 sessions per day of 5 minutes of repeating affirmations about how Joe, the formerly annoying coworker, has changed his behavior towards you and is nice and kind and gives you compliments? And at the same time, whenever you're at the office and Joe says something stupid, you are going in your mind to hear what you wanted to hear from him. So instead of him being condescending towards you, in your mind, you're going to hear, while he's being condescending, you're going to hear something nice, like, you work the hardest of all of us, for example. Or, this was really clever, something like that, which is basically instant revision. So, you set the intention of what you want to hear from the person, and when he doesn't say that, you replace the affirmation that you have in your mind with what he actually said, so that you don't have to dwell on the nasty thing the person said to you. On the spot, you replace that in your mind with the affirmation. See how that works out. And again, you write down when it manifests, how long it took, and how exactly it manifested. If it started and stayed consistent, if it was fast, what happened. And by conducting these kinds of experiments, you will have proven to yourself, first of all, that everyone as you pushed out works. This is vital. This is where people get stuck. Many people can manifest stuff, even a bit more expensive stuff, but they cannot manifest anything that has to do with other people. They cannot manifest someone being kind to them. They cannot manifest their boss changing their mind and giving them a promotion. They cannot manifest changes in their romantic relationship. They cannot manifest a specific person back. They cannot manifest their parents being more understanding. They cannot manifest better relationships with their friends and siblings. They cannot manifest things that have to do with people, because we have been told that you can manifest stuff, but it's difficult to manifest something with other people. So if you prove that concept to yourself, your life will change. Because then, if you want a specific person back, you will have manifested a huge change with your boss, with your roommate, with your best friend, with your mom, with your sister, with the neighbor, with a coworker, with the neighbor's dog that is barking all night long, and you change that by imagining the dog being calm and sleeping at night. And you will have made your life better, because all those things are not tiny insignificant things like finding a feather. They're things that by themselves, they will not make or break your life. But if you manifest 50 small changes like that, you will be calmer, you will have less anxiety, because you will have eliminated many things that annoy you in your life. And at the same time, you will have solid proof that, yes, everyone is you pushed out is not something stupid people say because they want to believe they have power over their lives. It's something that actually works. It is something that is actually true in this reality. You will have proven to yourself that not only the law of attraction and the law of assumption are real things, but that they work, and they work for you, that you personally can make them work. Because that's the other thing that gets people stuck. Many people 100% believe that those concepts are true. They just don't believe that they can make them work. They believe that they're true for everybody else, but that they personally have some innate flaw. They were born with a flaw that doesn't allow them to take those concepts and use them in their reality to manifest. Or that for them specifically, they only work for tiny things. They fully believe that they work for other people for huge things, but they don't believe that they can do it. And that's because they jump from tiny things to huge things, where the stakes go up, where a ton of insecurities exist, a ton of limiting beliefs, and they never test those things in a playful manner as an experiment, just to see what happens, just to have fun with it, for middle of the range stuff that they would love to have, but it's not like they think about that thing all day long. It's not like anyone thinks all day long about how their roommate doesn't take the trash out, but you think about it every day if it annoys you when you have to do it because she never does. So that's something that will be a small improvement in your quality of life and will give you more peace of mind. Go ahead and manifest it. It doesn't have to be just tiny stuff or just huge stuff. If you run these experiments consistently, if you make a list of, say, 50 things that are not life-changing but are more important than a cup of coffee to you, and you run those experiments trying to figure out which methods you love using, which methods bring you the best results, and applying those methods in what way brings you the best results, because sometimes people work too hard. Sometimes people use a method 50 times a day when they could use the same method a couple of times per day and get even faster results than when they used it 50 times per day. You don't know, maybe you're working too hard. So if you test those things, if you take your list of 50 things and run those experiments and write down all your observations, in a month or a couple of months, you will have built your faith so much that goals that now seem huge to you will be completely within your reach. Because all the desires that we have are equally easy to manifest. You're the only person who looks at them and decides that this goal, for example, manifesting a cup of coffee, is super easy to manifest, and manifesting $100 million is difficult. In both cases, you have created your own reality. So it's not more difficult to create the $1 million of a lottery win than it is to create someone buying you coffee. It's only in your mind where you're making one easy and the other difficult, and therefore you can manifest one very easily and the other is difficult to manifest. But if you've proven to yourself that those things work for tiny things like the cup of coffee, and then move up to more difficult and more difficult goals, like changing how other people react to you, manifesting objects that are bigger than a cup of coffee, and then you keep going up and up and up, in a few months' time, it will feel completely within your reach to manifest that boyfriend back, even if they haven't spoken to you in 2 years. You will have unshakable faith that this can work because you will have proven it to yourself again and again and again and again with things that really matter. And you will be able to look at your life and look at all your notes and see the proof. And that's the most important thing, because it doesn't matter how many people tell you this works, until you prove it to yourself, until you have physical proof that this works for you and that you can make it work, you will always going to have doubts. You'll always going to be wondering if you're just fooling yourself, trying to think positively about something that's a lost cause. You need to build your own faith, and only then will you have complete trust in yourself that you can do that. I mean, think of the floor. When you get out of bed in the morning, you don't wonder if the floor is going to be there. Why? Because it hasn't happened to you ever that you tried to get out of bed and the floor isn't there anymore, right? So you just trust that the floor is there. And that's the kind of trust that develops when we have direct physical experience, personal experience with something. And that's what those experiments are going to do for you. They're going to provide you with a practical experience that will create in you the confidence that those methods work just as reliably as the floor is there when you wake up in the morning. So are you ready to start running your own experiments to prove that you can make all those techniques work and manifest incredible things in your life? Then I want you to do 2 things. First, go to the description, click the link to download the PDF that I've created to help you map out your experiments. It is going to help you immensely in running your experiments of manifesting the right way. And the second thing I want you to do, if you're not familiar with those methods, if you're not familiar with the law of attraction, if you're not familiar with Neville Goddard and my channel, I have a whole playlist with videos detailing specific manifestation methods, step by step, with examples, so that you know exactly how to apply each method in your own life to manifest your specific goals. So, click up to the right to access the playlist, watch those videos, find the methods that appeal to you, the ones that get you excited, and figure out what you want to use them to manifest. Alright? And start running your experiments. And if you like this video and would like more of this, click the subscribe button and the bell icon, because I put out new videos every Sunday to help you manifest an amazing life. Thank you so much for watching.